Okay. Okay, Satnam Aloha, everyone. And I just want to check that everybody can hear me. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so if you could let me know if you can hear me or not. I learned my lesson. And I'll check with you guys first. Massachusetts corruption, can you hear me? It looks like it's on. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, I can hear myself here. Okay, so round 2. I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay, great. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sticking around. And we're going to go back. Okay. So this live stream is all about the nodal axis. So this is the karmic axis. It's the south node and the north node. So they moved. Where did they go? The dates here. Okay. February 6th, so they just moved. And they're going to sit there until June 23rd, 2023. So we're still in the Taurus-Scorpio axis. So Scorpio is the south node, and it's in the shadow of purposelessness, and that's the 28. And then 27 is generosity, altruism. So this is just shifted, and that goes until June 23rd, 2023. So in terms of the chart, so if you go in the link below, if you don't have your free human design chart, it's going to have a red side and then the black side. So this is a transit chart. So this is all black. That's why it's all black here. So the transits, like I said in my other videos, that's the conditioning field that we're all under. So when you're not your authentic self, like truly who you are, who you're designed to be, then you get pulled. Right, so most of humanity gets pulled into this conditioning field. This is the information field that we live in, and it leaves an imprint. And the imprint is this chart, right, or these charts, and they move. Especially the moon. The moon moves like 4 times per day, right? So, so when you're unconscious, you get pulled, right? So with the transit here. So this is the transit chart, right? And you've got your natal chart. So the transit chart, if you don't have the 27 in the north node and then in the south node, the 28, this is how we see. This is how, so the collective is going to see this. This is what they're going to be focused on. This is what they see according to the transit. So if you have 27, 28, that's awesome. This is exactly what you're supposed to see in life, right? Outside and external. But if not, then you get pulled, right? You get pulled away from what you're supposed to see. We're all supposed to see different things out in the external. So this shows you with binary consciousness, right? It shows you the discern, oh, I'm not being myself right now because this is what I'm focused on. I'm not supposed to be focused on these themes, right? These are themes, the archetypes. But, however, we have all 64 basically, but according to your chart, there's going to be, right? There's going to be certain ones that you're focused on, right? That you're designed to be focused on in this incarnation. But we can use this energy to transcend it because we basically have all of them, right? So you can use this, especially the cities and the gifts. I mean, they're really teachings for this new age of Aquarius, the new cross of the sleeping phoenix that's coming. So the nodes are what we're supposed to see. That's the storyline that we see. So you'll notice this as you become more and more familiar with the system, the human design system and the gene keys. in astrology, then you start to see these things out in the external world. So the 28th, if we go back, the 28th is a self node. So this is what we really want to let go of, right? And we want to embrace the north node. This is the karmic axis. So we want to let go of this sense of purposelessness. That's the 28, coming off the spleen there, and then embrace generosity. That's the gift of the 27 that's coming up here. So the 27 and the 50, they make a channel, right? Here, the 27, the 50. 50 is all about values, and 27 is the gate of caring, the gate of caring. So this is all about raising the offspring, right? So that they progress and evolve, right? Our offspring of humanity. So this is really important, this gate of caring, isn't it? And it's the shadow of selfishness and the gift of generosity. So if we go to the shadow, we'll go, because each one has a shadow, right? And a gift. And there's a gift contained within the shadow when we transcend this energy. So if we go back to the 27, right? This is the gate of caring. This is the shadow of selfishness. So with each shadow, there's two different flavors of it. So there's one flavor I know everybody knows. I'm selfish. I just consider myself. Screw everybody else. It's all about me. Maybe the extension of my ego, which are my children and my family. Maybe not, but it's all me, 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 me. Hoard, hoard, hoard. Don't share, right? Don't share, right? Dog eat dog world. Piscean age has taught us all of this, right? This the shadow of the 27, of the selfishness. But there's the other side, and that's what I want to address with the people that are listening, because I think that will apply more to them, right? So let's look at what the ego, that's worm tongue, ego, not self. I've just given it a form so that you can recognize the ego. It's that voice in your head that you believe is you, right? It's been with you since a long time, since childhood. And a lot of people, they just channel this ego. They just channel the ego. So these are the thoughts, the quality of the thoughts when you know that you're in this shadow frequency, right? So I just want to remember saying this the first time around. So this is the evolutionary pathway of awareness that we're moving through the physical, the mental, the emotional, and then to frequency, vibrational. So this is the spirit awareness. It's frequency vibrational. That's what we're returning to, right? We're moving away from experiencing our life through the mind, the mental awareness system, and then we get this emotional awareness system, the felt perception. We're feeling our way through life. This creates the solar plexus mutation that's really starting in 2027. The kids that will be born will already have this mutation. And then this mutates into spirit awareness. That takes us back to this vibrational, right? So we have to look at shadow, right? Shadow is coming from the frequency. It's coming from the frequency, okay? So it's just frequency that's moving. And then boom, it hits our emotional body. And this is our 0 to 7-year-old developmental phase. So things get stuck then, right? Because our parents, our caregivers were not healthy, right? And the emotions are energy in motion. That's all it means. So it gets stuck and gets crystallized, and then this frequency is trying to move, our evolutionary frequency, and it's hitting the emotions, right? And then the mind gets in there, right? This is the 8 to 14-year-old developmental stage, and the mind gets in there and creates all these stories about what this frequency is. The mind interprets it as anger, fear, grief. Those are the 3 primary emotions. It makes up a story about it, further blocking it, right? And then this gets created out on the external, right? So all this, it's like perverted energy almost. I want to say perverted. It's not purified. It's not clear. And then it gets to the physical, and then that's what we attract back to us, right? The world is an emotional mirror, and this is the cause. That's the cause, is the emotional body there, right? So this is the shadow frequency that wants to move through. It's just frequency, right? So we want to purify that frequency so that it's expressed as the gift, right? The gift or this in the city. So with this 27, right, is it's about giving and receiving. The 27 is all about giving and receiving energy. So so some of the thoughts that this ego is you'll hear in your head, right? And then you know you're in, oh, I'm on this frequency of selfish, right? Is to get rid of my guilt, because it's got a real flavor of guilt. I must give away my power, right? By giving to the wrong people. And this depletes my resources and my health. Okay, so there's giving from the mind. The two types of giving are giving from the mind, and we know giving from the mind is tit for tat. It's the bargain, the tribal consciousness. I do this, I give you this, and you give me something back, right? We can see that in politics, the lobbyists. I give you all this money for your campaign, and then you create policies that benefit me. Return on my investment, right? That's like an example we can all understand, right? It's the giving to take. It's the giving to take. Or it's giving from the third chakra, and that's giving your willpower away, giving your power away. So that's the part that I want to address with the people listening, right? So, and we know this with the guilt, like giving to the wrong people. And you may have had this experience of these people that are I bring into my field, and I give and I give, and I'm being nice and I'm being kind, and meanwhile I'm like nothing's enough for them. They just want more and more and more and more and more, and I give and I give and I deplete, right? I deplete my health, because something's got to pay. The prana from your cells, it's going to start to pay, and then this creates illness in your health, and you get exhausted and burned out. Your money starts to deplete, your material resources to start to deplete. Well, you got to look at this, right? This is all about taking self-responsibility now for the age of Aquarius, becoming a spiritual adult. I want to dig up this dynamic, especially if it's repeating over and over and over again. It's going to come from there. The 0 to 7-year-old is creating this. And why? Because you got to look at low self-worth issues, right? This is shame, right? So it's not when you don't face that's coming from inside you. Oh, I don't feel like I have any self-value. I feel like I have no self-worth, right? I feel so ashamed about myself. I'm going to bury it, bury it. And then what do? The emotional mirror brings to you the people that will take advantage of you so that you can feel this. Because the root of it's not about them. The root of it's about you facing these, these childhood traumas. Right? Because somebody told you when you were a child that you had no value, right? You had no value as yourself, because as a child, our currency is unconditional love. That's what true giving is unconditional love. And we didn't receive that as children because our parents or caregivers were broken, and their caregivers were broken for over 2,000 years old. And that all giving was about, there's a condition. I'll give to you, but you need to be this kind of person. You can't be yourself. I'm not going to give to you because you're authentic and real, because I wasn't given that for being authentic and real. So do you see, we create all these false selves, and this is what we have to let go of now for the Aquarian age. So that's the root of it, where to go. And then giving your energy away, right? Just like free fall, not valuing yourself, not valuing your energy, because you're trying to pay off guilt, right? You're trying to pay off guilt. And people don't give to you what you think they owe you, and this can make you angry. So this is when you start to look at like, okay, what's this pattern? Well, you're in this 27 shadow. So remember, we're letting go of the south node, embracing this generosity, but we're going to meet with the north node. We're going to meet the shadow frequency, right? So that we can transcend it. And transcend it means to move it into altruism, generosity, and selflessness. Yeah. So this giving your power away, right? Giving your power away. We've been conditioned to give our power away as children. Conditioned to give our power away as children. Conditioned to give our power away to these institutions, right? That are going down. Like I say, it's the Titanic coming closer to 2027. We have to let go of our codependency, our dependency on these institutions, giving our power away to these institutions, right? And we've been conditioned to do that, right? To give our power away. That someone knows more than we do, right? So I better give my power away to them. Let them make the decisions for me. Basically, stay a child. So the shadow fear here is that there's not enough spiritual nourishment, right, of what strengthens you, because you need the spiritual nourishment. And what is that? It's the unconditional love. It's the frequency. It's frequency. That's all it is. And what the mind and ego have done is hijacked it, this frequency, we'll call it love, and they create rom-coms and love songs and romantic novels with all the propaganda, right, of what it means to be a good person. Yeah. So that's what you really need, but you need to give it to yourself. So it's looking at what nourishes you, what nourishes your soul. So for me, what nourishes me, it starts as soon as I get up with sadhana, right? My spiritual practice, meditation. What am I doing? I'm opening myself up to divine energy, right? Opening myself, filling my cup up, right? That's what I need, to fill my cup up. And then I can go out and share that cup with other people. Then I can truly give, because it's coming from my heart, right? That's true giving. It's coming from your heart. But if you've got your cup and you're not filling yourself up, you're not nurturing yourself, you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to another person, let me fill up your cup. Well, if that person's awake and can see with their third eye, they're going to look in your cup and there's nothing in there. There's nothing in your cup. You want me to fill up your cup, right? Do you see the trickery? You want me to fill up your cup by giving you compliments and making you not face your low self-worth issues so that you can feel good about yourself, right? It's the give to take, right? So to bring that back to that spiritual truth. And the other spiritual truth is that with this spirit awareness, going back to the frequency and vibrational, well, what's that about? It's about seeing ourselves as one human organism. We're all connected energetically, right, to one another. So if you're in this false humility that we've been taught through religion, to feel guilty, and that to be a good person is to like completely sacrifice your authentic self, to give from your prana, which isn't true giving, to give from this ego, right? That's not true giving. We've been taught that. Where was I going with that? I know. So the spirit awareness that we're all connected. So when you're in that state, right? You're in that state of low self-worth and false humility and, right, like feeling so horrible about yourself, trying to pay off this guilt. You're connected to everyone, right? Well, what's going to happen? Your connection is going to drag down because you're low frequency. It's going to drag down the rest of humanity that you're connected to energetically, right? Do you see how it's the opposite of what we've been taught and conditioned, right? Of what a good spiritual person is, right? So not take care of themselves, not nurture themselves. Think about everybody else except yourself. It's complete self-denial. That is the shadow of selfishness too. But when you're taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself and loving yourself and giving to you what you need first, then you're going to raise the frequency, right, of humanity. This is about evolution of humanity. So you could be on a little desert island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you and a couple birds and maybe a turtle comes to visit. Well, you're going to, if you're loving yourself, you're going to pull up the rest of humanity, right? The collective, energetically. So just to keep that in mind, like don't let these false teachings, because it's really about beliefs, right? Your belief system about this, right? And we inherit our belief systems from our childhood. It's selfish to think about yourself. It's selfish to consider your own needs, right? You're supposed to be conditioned to focus on other people, not yourself. And that's a big lie, right? That you have to let go of. So what I noticed with, because my Phoenix program's all about this, is when this frequency starts to move, because that's all it wants to do, right? We're going back to frequency, but frequency is coming through us too. Is we move through these blocks in the emotional body. That's when the block happened. And you know what else happened is an identity started to form with that trauma. Whatever that trauma was, it was like, this is not okay. The child self, right? It's not okay for me to be myself. It's not okay to think and consider my own needs and think about myself. It's not okay, so I'm going to create this false self. I'm going to be the helper. I'm going to save everybody else. I'm going to do for everybody else, right? And it follows you into adulthood, and then you attract these people that take advantage of you because it's not real, right? That inner child from 0 to 7 years old is calling you back. That anger and sadness and grief is calling you back, right? To like, listen, you completely denied me for 30 plus years. Like, come back. I am you. And to let go of this false helper self, right? So that's the shot. This is like, I really feel strongly that for the people that are listening, for you that's listening, that this is probably more appropriate for you, right? To look at that it's not selfish to think about yourself first. It's just, I just laid down the logic, right? You can't give what you don't have. So it's about receiving first, and it's about giving yourself permission to receive. So let's go to the gift here. When this transcends, so it comes with feeling, right? It comes with feeling. We're evolving through the emotional body. It's not enough to like, oh yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I see the dynamics that I'm in with people. It's unequal, this give and receive, and I'm frustrated. And well, you got to go to the emotions. It's not going to move if it just stays up in the head. There's no movement there, right? This is why talk therapy doesn't work. It only takes you to a certain point. You got to go all the way down to the emotion, down to the frequency. And the emotions is about feeling it, feeling the shame, right? Feeling the sadness, feeling the fear, feeling the anger, right to the bottom, to frequency. So the gift, right? When you do this shadow work, the gift is true generosity gives you more abundance, right? So to give is to receive. The tit for tat way, the ego's way, is I got to give to that person and that person gives back to me. That's how it works. And not, right? The spiritual truth is we're all connected. So when you truly give, and it means giving from the heart, not giving from the mind, not giving from the third chakra, but from giving from the heart. So if you're in a state of mind, oh, I should really do this. It's my duty to do this, to give this. I should. You're not in the right state. You're in your mind, right? Or I'm fearing other people's judgment, so I'm just going to give my power away. I'm being a good person. I'm doing it for the team. I'm saving grandma, right? I'm going to give all my power away, even though my intuition is screaming at the top of its lungs not to do this because it's so incorrect for me, right? Well, this is about giving from your heart, right? And the impulse to give comes from the soul. It doesn't come from the mind and the ego, because mind and ego are always have a hidden agenda. It doesn't come from giving your power away. It's from because that's limits, that's limitation. But when you give from your heart, that's infinite, right? It's infinite there in that space. So when you're giving, right, then you don't know where the receiving is going to come from. All you know is I'm giving to the whole of humanity. I'm giving to the collective, and then you just open to receive, right? Open to receive. It's about giving without even any expectation, even of a thank you. It's true giving. So that impulse is coming from your soul to truly give is coming from the soul, because that's what the soul wants to do. It wants to give because it's only giving to itself. Recognize the other person as you. You're only giving to yourself, right? This is all the stuff we're going to, in humanity in the future, will look back at this time and they'll be like, were these people insane? I can't believe the insanity that they think that they could hoard and keep from others and not realizing they're only harming themselves, right? But the ego has tricked us. This is what we have to this is the biggest problem on the earth right now, is this. People ruled by this ego, right? That's God has headed towards self-destruction, right? So don't believe this false teachings about, you got to work with your ego and you're going to have the healthy ego. The ego is going to take you so far, but will not take you to the finish line, will not take you through this tunnel, right? You'll be headed through the tunnel to do this emotional work. I'm going to face my fears finally. I'm going to face my shadows. And that ego will be grabbing your leg, trying to keep you from moving through this emotional body, because that's who you really are. You're not this ego, right? So never, ever see this as a friend and an ally, right? Yes, it can take you so far, but it won't take you to the finish line. It won't take you to the touchdown right here. And we can live perfectly fine without that ego in another state of consciousness. This is ego in time. He lives in time. We're headed for the eternal now, right? The ego needs us. We don't need the ego. So just to remember that. Because whenever I see that teaching, it gets me riled up, because it's a false light. It's the ego pulling at your leg. Come back. Go this route, right? It's more comfortable, right? It's more comfortable, but it's not going to get you to growth and evolution at all. Okay, so abundance and the feeling of fulfillment when you have an equal exchange of energy. Have you felt that? Like, I feel like that with the people that I work with, the one-on-ones with, right? I feel so fulfilled. They're so open and receptive, and they're receiving when I'm giving, right? This is the projector's dream, right? And they're giving, right? And the giving and receiving become one. And it goes beyond money, right? It's just this fulfillment, because this equal exchange, it's the infinity sign happening, right? Between people. So remember, it's the soul that truly wants to give. And learn that your purpose is found through your giving, right? So remember the self node that we're letting go of. This is feeling like there's no purpose and no meaning, that you got to struggle, right? That you got to struggle. So this is what happens with the shadow. It's like, I don't know what my soul purpose is, because I'm listening to that ego and mind, right? I need to get before I give anything, right? Well, the shadow of this purposelessness is saying that, well, okay, I don't have a soul purpose, then I'm going to create a purpose for myself, and that's struggle. I need to struggle. That gives me this sense of purpose, like I'm doing something. Life is meaningful because I'm struggling just to survive, right? Because purpose is such a big part of our spiritual journey. Right? And that's why I love human design, because human design answers the question, who am I? Right? And it's limited way. Remember, this is an open source. This is a transmission. It's open wisdom. It's continually growing, right? It's a living wisdom. Is who am I? Right? So it gives you a sense of like, who am I? My design. And then, why am I on the planet? right? And the why is the purpose, and the purpose is found through your giving. So you can do lots of exercises at home and writing and what's my purpose, but you're really going to find out what your purpose is through your experiences with other people. So this goes back to childhood. What's the thing that comes out of me with people all the time? It's like a repeating theme, right? What is it? What is it? There's going to be a quality there, right? And that's going to give you lots of information about your purpose. What do I give? If everything were covered, like I pieces of paper, we didn't have to run out and I gotta exchange my energy and time for these pieces of paper so I can give the pieces of paper to my landlord and then give the pieces of paper to my grocery store so I can stay alive, right? If all of that were covered, well, how would you spend your time, right? This is also about the letting go of purposelessness, is the fear of death, right? This is what the ego fears, is death, right? Is death. So it's about facing that. Yes, we're eternal beings, having human experiences. We were never born, never died. That's our true identity. But these are time-bound bodies, right? In terms of this incarnation, it has an expiry date, right? There's a birth of the physical body and there's a death of the physical body. And it's about just facing that, right? And this brings you back to, it's using that, if I go back to the 60, right? Pluto's in the 60 of limitation. It's like to work with that. I'm not here in this body, even though the powers that be want to create this immortal body, right? And there's also that selfishness too, the shadow of selfishness, and purposelessness, not having a purpose other than to keep that body alive, What was I going to say about that? Let's go back to the gift here. Yeah. So your purpose is found through your giving. That's what you're gonna find out, right? Yeah. How would you spend your time? That's my question. Everything's covered. How would you spend your time? Well, because the thing is like, some people say, well, humans are lazy and they just wouldn't do anything if we didn't have jobs for them to do. This is the generator world, right? No, we want to contribute. We do. It's in our nature. It's our human nature. But with our gifts and talents, not from a slave, not from the slave archetype. So giving without expectation when you're in the gift, with the sheer joy of it, because it lights you up to really, really give. Projectors understand this, right? Giving. Connected to the divine mind, and I talked about that. That's our intuition, right? Our intuition. We'll know who or what to give to, right? So if you're in your ego, in your mind, then you're in your tit for tat. Well, if I give that person this, then they'll give me that back, or I'll give my power away, and then this person gives me a sense of self-value, right? It's the give to get. Give to get. There's like always conditions, right? There's a big rope attached. Well, when you're connected to your authenticity, you're connected to your intuition, and your intuition will let you know, no, that's not the person to give to. They're just a big black hole. It will never end. Whatever your guidance tells you, right? This is not a good use of your energy. Oh, here, this is alive, right? So it's about the discernment, and listening to your intuition will let you know who to give to, what not to give to, right? What's alive rather than what's decaying. And just right here, this is decaying. Stop giving your energy to these institutions. They're not going to keep you safe. They're not going to keep you secure. They're going down, right? For this new age of Aquarius, we're already seeing it. Stop giving your energy to this. And your intuition will let you know what to give to, right? And what to give to, I mean, we vote with our dollar, right? That's just energy, that's currency. We vote with our dollar. You're showing the world, I'm giving my energy to this. This is what's alive. This is what's dying, right? All these institutions, I'm not giving to this anymore because it's dying. It's decaying. It's like I'm just throwing my money down into that ocean, right? Okay. And what else do we have here? And know how to nurture myself, and others will trust me, right? So of course, when you know how to nurture yourself, there's no hidden agenda. Because you may say, well, I'm not conscious of my hidden agenda. It's at the subconscious. But you have to remember we're communicating in a lot of different ways other than speaking and listening. We communicate through our energy, right? So our energy, our auras don't lie, basically. Our mouths can lie, but our auras can't lie. So people are going to feel that, right? There's a hidden agenda. Oh, this person wants me to take care of them. They want me to carry them, and vice versa, right? So it's about the self-sovereign. This is what we're heading into for the cross of the sleeping phoenix, right? Self-sovereign, being able to take care of ourselves. So reflect on that, right? What do I need to nurture myself? What do I need to take? What do I need? What nurtures my soul? It could be music. It could be nature, meditation, of course, writing, quiet, solitude, maybe friends, certain friends where there's that equal exchange of energy, where they don't want something from you. They're not trying to exploit you. So the generosity is all about considering yourself, that self first is not selfish. Self first is not selfish. It's all about, it's logical. How can I give anything I don't have, that I don't give to myself? I need to love myself before I love anybody else. And then you consider others, right? So the order of priority with relationships is me with my source, the divine, my higher power, me with me, little me, taking care of my body and my health, and then me with, right, a child, if you're a parent and your child is still dependent on you, right, and then others. That's how it works. That's like the order of priority, and everything will arrange itself for you, because you may but I'm a mother, I can't. Everything will arrange as soon as you commit to that. Life will just arrange itself for you. It will reflect back that self-love, right? And then allowing yourself to be nurtured, nourished by the frequency of love. That's what we really want, right? So allowing that in, and that means possibly healing this inner child that doesn't feel like she deserved it, right? That she deserves unconditional love. Or he, too. Okay. And yeah. And others will trust you. Okay. I think that's everything that I said. Oh, the first. Okay. Let's look at, see if there's any questions here before we head to the tarot reading. So write down your human design type if you know it, too. Okay. So, no, I'm from New Mexico and Massachusetts. Okay. Yay, everybody can hear me. Okay. Rachel Reed. Okay. Oh, Adi Shakti's got the pearl and the 28. Do you know your line? 28 line. Okay. Okay. I think I do have Healing the Ancestors, Rachel Reed. It's on YouTube, the Healing the Ancestors. Again, I'm trying to get all my meditations on my website because YouTube does weird things with, if I use Kundalini Yoga music, then they just insert an ad wherever they feel like it. But I'll let people know that. Yeah, it's also about giving, the shadow of selfishness here is giving without limitation, right? Without limitation. With this 27. So that's the boundaries, right, are really important. To know your boundaries, and that means to know yourself, especially for the generators and manifesting generators. To know yourself and your energy level. And as a projector, we have to know that. It's basic survival for the projector because we don't have the same energy that the generators and manifesting generators have. So it's about being in tune with your body. How am I feeling right now? I'm starting to feel a little bit tired. Well, it's time to remove yourself, right? Before you're exhausted. And it's about valuing your energy, right? Your energy is precious right now. And you want it pure. This is what we're doing. We're purifying our consciousness, right? With this frequency. We're purifying it, right? As this frequency, purifying the emotional body, number one, the mental body, and then the physical body. Okay. That's funny. Divine chosen Mika. I'm so tired of it. Where's the mothership? There's no saviors. That's the joke, right? We're the ones we've been waiting for. Yeah. Because you know what? We've got ancestral work to do. That's why. We're the cleanup crew, right? That are on the planet right now. Right, the circus tents are coming down. We're the takedown crew, taking down these systems so we can create new systems, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So have compassion, right, for yourself, Rachel Reed. When you see these patterns and dynamics, right, things that your parents said will come out of your mouth. That's why, because it's ancestral, right? We have to go through all this trauma because it's ancestral. So we're the top of in terms of our ancestors, and this is why we're seeing these ancestral memories are releasing right now, and it's so we can make different choices, right? For our ancestors than our ancestors did. Not making choices from fear, right? Making choices from love. Okay. Okay. Okay, Rachel Reed says, what happens if you feel you have nothing to give? Well, you're listening to your ego, number one, because everybody has something to give. It doesn't have to be material, right? It can be your presence. You can give through your presence, being present with another person, through your smile. Don't underestimate what a random act of kindness can be for someone, We're all going through our battles. Somebody could be contemplating suicide and they've had it with the world. The world is horrible. And then they see you come along and just smile and say, hey, how are you today? And you're present with them and they know you actually mean it. You have no big harpoon trying to get into them, right? Hook them, get something back. Well, that's going to shift, right? That will shift that person. So don't underestimate that. You always have something to give. That's the ego talk. You got nothing to give, right? Okay, so let's talk about the tarot, and then we'll go into the types. So remember, if you don't know your human design type, to go in the information box and then get your free chart. And then you'll learn more about human design. Okay. So this is the reading I did quickly before I hopped on. So it's really, really fresh. And we've got how many major arcana? We got 3 major arcana cards. So this is for you, for everybody listening. Everybody listening. And it's so funny, the action card's the same as the full moon, so that didn't change. And I pray over the cards, right, before I choose them. Okay, so where we are at now is the Hierophant, number 5 of Major Arcana. And so this is saying it's about our beliefs. So this is, my question was, what are the cards in relationship to this the shadow of selfishness, gift of generosity and altruism, right? And then selflessness. Yeah. So selflessness, I know what I forgot to say. So selflessness, what is selflessness? Because that's the city here, is the selflessness. Well, it's a sacrifice. The lower frequency of sacrifice is you, and this is really the shadow of selfishness, is you have to give up a part of your authenticity, right, for this other person, this greater cause. You got to give this up. You can give your power away to save grandma, right? Goes against your authenticity, even though your intuition's screaming at the top of its lungs, no, don't do this, right? That's the shadow of selfishness. So what's the higher frequency of selflessness? It's sacrificing this ego. It's sacrificing your lower self for your higher self. It's sacrificing this, leaving behind the ego and moving into spirit awareness, the expansion, right, of you, the true you, your true identity. That's selflessness. That's what selflessness means. You're not prone to these little self needs, right? Which is, I need to be better than somebody else. I need to be worse than somebody else. I need to have more than somebody else. I need to have less than somebody else. This is dictated by this ego and mind, you know? So the relationship to the 27 here is, this is all about our beliefs, right? The Hierophant here, it's all about our beliefs, and it goes back to our ancestors, our ancestral beliefs that we've inherited, hook, line, and sinker, about what it means to give, you know? Because one belief is like, well, I can't give until I'm 65, right? I have to accumulate, so my mind and ego can feel secure, and I've got my big house and my 2 cars and, right, my RSPs, right, my my social security, right, all of that, all set, and then I can give, and then I'm a philanthropist, right? That's like an ancient belief, right, an ancient belief. Because it goes against our true nature. Our true nature as a humanity is we do want to give, right? We do want to give from our hearts. So to dig up this, right, is about our traditional beliefs. It's like, start to question what is coming out of your mouth, and what you're think. Where does this come from? Is this really my belief, or did I inherit this from my mother and father and my grandparents, or our society at large? Right? And also, just because it's the Hierophant, it's based in religion too, because it's got a little tinge of guilt to this 27, right? That it's selfish to be thinking about yourself or loving yourself first, right? You're just a lowly sinner, right? You're broken. You were born in sin. You're broken and you're worthless, and the best you can do is hope to get into heaven. Right, by sacrificing your authenticity in this lifetime. All the lies we've been taught, right, through religion. And remember, that's one of the institutions that's going down too. Religious people don't want to hear that, but that has to go down, right? Because it's built in fear and control. Something new has to emerge. That's true, like true spiritual teachings, true spiritual values and beliefs. Okay, so this is like looking at what you've been taught, right? What you've been taught. So that, and then underneath, so this is all about an external authority, going to an external authority to learn what a good person, because 27, caring, what it truly means to care for another person. Well, the hermit's there. And the hermit is saying, go inside, be a light unto yourself, follow that inner light. What does it mean for you to nurture another person? What does it mean to you to care for another person, or care for yourself and nurture yourself? To not be looking to the external, right? This Hierophant here. So that's underneath, and finding your own inner wisdom here. You need your own code right now. This is the cross of the sleeping phoenix. You need your own code, your own moral code that you're following, and it comes from your inner light. Will not guide you wrong. You already know the difference between right and wrong because there's the light inside you that will guide you, right? So to trust that. This is your inner teacher, your inner sage. We all have it. We all have one. Okay, so that's your inner truth, to find your inner truth. And then the big block here is moving on. Six of Swords, moving on from something, right? Moving on out of difficult situations, moving through a rite of passage, right? He's sailing away somewhere good, right? You can see the water's a little bit rough there, going into a new place. So the block is like you're leaving something behind. Maybe you're leaving behind some people in your life, right? Where this is selfishness, the shadow, there's not this equal exchange of energy. There never has been. And you're finally seeing it, right? Through June, right? We're in this lesson until June. And you're moving on. And not letting go of the baggage. The baggage could be these beliefs. Letting go of these beliefs that it's wrong for me to think about myself and consider myself, right? Yeah, that's the block. Yeah. But just trusting, it's taking me. People are being taken away from me. You can feel it energetically. Sometimes you don't need to do a big pronouncement. You know, I'm done with you. I've got the axe, and right. Sometimes it's just the energy, right? The zigzag energy. You just never seem to run into each other anymore, right? Life will show you when you start to really like align yourself with this high frequency generosity, right? Life will show you who's not aligned with generosity, and then will bring to you the people that there is an equal exchange of energy, right? Okay, and then what's the spiritual lesson? Is judgment, and that's your soul purpose, which makes sense, right? The 27 and the 28 are programming partners. And the 28 is all about soul purpose, right? So it's moving towards your soul purpose. That's what your soul is telling us right now. And this is transformation into the higher self, right? So it's answering the call, the trumpet, the call. But the call's coming from deep, deep within you, right? With this Hermit card. And then action is the same one as the full moon, the Ace of Wands right there. And this is all about inspiration. It's a new beginning. It's following your passion. It's following your passion. So what I see is some dead wood, right? You're letting go of some dead wood in your life with this nodal shift. And remember, March 23rd, Pluto is going into a whole new sign of Aquarius. And Saturn on the 2nd, March 2nd, is moving into a whole new sign, Pisces, for 2.5 years. So there's lots of change about. So it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing these cards here. Yeah. So what inspires you? What zings you? What people zing you? Right? Your feelings will let you know. Your feelings will let you know. And that's another reason that we need to do emotional purification work. I can't stress this enough. is frequency. The Aquarian age is ruled by Uranus. It's all about frequency. It's vibration. We need to learn about frequency, vibration. Does the mind understand frequency and vibration? No, because it's so far removed from it, right? It can look at graphs, right? It can look at patterns out in the external world, but what's going to help you learn frequency and vibration is feelings, your emotions, to understand frequency and vibration, right? So you'll understand what your inner truth is. You'll feel what that hermit is communicating to you. You'll feel the inspiration. You'll feel it. But if you're stuck in your mind and refusing to do that emotional work, you're crippled in a sense, right? You're crippled as a real self-sovereign human. You need to be in touch with your feelings, and then you'll understand frequency. You'll feel this is true, right? You'll feel that this is incorrect for me. You'll feel the trustworthy of this person. You're just, right? This is your knowingness, is feeling. Yeah, so what lights you up, what inspires you, is going to come from your feelings. And then what's the ego saying? Is go to the experts. That fits with the Hierophant card, right? That somebody knows better than me. Somebody I have to give my power over to all these institutions, right? They know better than I do. That's the experts. Even though my feelings are saying one thing or my intuition is saying another thing, I'm going to listen to my mind, right? And I'm going to stay on this Titanic as it sinks to the bottom of the ocean, you know? So, in this you can get bad advice, because people can only help you to their level of healing that they've done themselves, right? Otherwise, they're just going to project their shadow. The 28, they'll project their shadow onto you. They'll project their fears onto you. Don't do that. Don't leave your partner, right? Don't leave that job. And what are they doing? They're projecting their fear. I would fear if I left my job. I would fear if I left my partner right now, right? So this is the belief that the ego has. These are ego traps, right? The ego has you believe that somebody else knows better than you, right? They know better than you. They've been indoctrinated longer in school than you, so they know better than you. All that shows is they've been indoctrinated longer than you have, right? So this is about going within for your answers and to trust that, right? This is that Hermit card, this echoed again, right? To go within for your answers during this time. Yeah. What else do I want to say here? So leaving this belief that it's selfish, right? To consider yourself and to nurture yourself. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's go to some types here. Yes, Rachel Reed. Ace of Wands was in the same position. Right. Okay. Okay, good. People are putting their types down here. Okay. So we're going to start off with, let's see, with the manifesting generators, the MGs, the racehorse. The racehorses of the human design system. Okay. So I'll pick some cards for the manifesting generators. So let's look at right away like how you can nurture your own aura, because this is all about aura types, these human design systems. This human design system is about your aura type. How do you nurture your aura and your energy? So the biggest challenge for the manifesting generators is just to take a pause you know, and to reflect and to actually feel themselves. Because the thing is, the generators, you know, because really I feel like I know we live in a generator world. I'm a projector, non-energy type. And the end game is just to harvest our energy, right? That's the dystopian view. It's the only thing that's not been commodified yet is our own bodies. I guess our organs and stuff, but our energy hasn't been commodified yet. In our mind, right? So, where was I going with that? So it's about you. What I feel with the manifesting generators and the generators, it's about you valuing your energy, right? And you get to choose who you give your energy to and who not to give your energy to. Because there can be frustration, right, when the manifesting generator isn't using their energy properly, giving to the wrong things, to the wrong people. And that's when you know you're not operating correctly, right? So taking a pause to reflect. Okay, what do we got for our manifesting generator friends? This one right here. Okay, I'll get an ego card too. So it's about your home, manifesting generators. And are you spending too much time at work? Let's see what the ego's going to say first here. Okay. This one here. Okay. Okay. So for the manifesting generator, you got the depression card here, depression. So in terms of energy flow, we go to this, right? So we're evolving back to the vibrational, back to frequency, hitting this emotional. And what's depression? Energy and motion, right, is the emotional body. And depression is like keeping it down. And what is it keeping down? Anger, right? So that's frustration. I know the manifestors deal with anger, and the generators and manifesting generators deal with frustration, which is another word for anger. So they too deal with their anger, right? So this is like depressing the anger. So it's not expressing the anger outwardly, it's turning it inward, right? So this can get you stuck in a rut, right? It's a tantrum too, because we're talking about the soul purpose, right? With this, the soul purpose, moving on. The 28 is all about soul purpose too, the programming partner of the 27. The refusal to move on. So to look at that, dig anything up that, oh, I've experienced this loss in 2023 or 2022. I'm unable to move on, right? I don't want to get in that boat with the boatman and move on. I'm hanging on, I'm clinging on. I'm hanging on to this depression, right? And all it is anger wanting to move through your emotional body. And it can make you exhausted, right? So the manifesting generators and the generators, like exhaustion is really good for you, but the right use of your energy. If it's just exhaustion, there's something up, right? This is your aura not being nurtured, right? Because you're not using your energy correctly. Yeah, so it's about committing to the next step and not taking care of yourself, right? Not nurturing yourself, manifesting generator. And it's around home. You got the 4 of Wands there. It's around your home. Yeah. Which is saying, I mean, because it's a happy card too. The Four of Wands is a happy card. It's foundation, but this is the block, right? It's the depression. With this Six of Swords, unable to move on. And what you're moving towards is the Four of Wands, like there's a celebration. So I would work with this energy until June, right? Of this selfishness. In the shadow of selfishness, the gift of generosity. Bring that generosity to yourself, right? That generosity to yourself. It's time to take care of yourself. And so what brings you happiness and joy? To ask yourself these questions. What is on the other side of this depression? Can you open up your mind to like, oh, it's just fear. It's just a frequency that I have to feel. That's all you have to do is to feel it, right? To feel these emotions that are blocked. And movement, right? Really, really helps. Like walking or running or exercising. That helps move the energy. Baths, right? Being near water will help move the energy. Allowing your mind to like, I'm just going to open up to this, right? There's energy that wants to move through me, and I'm just avoiding the next step. I'm afraid of making the next step. I don't want to get over this loss. I don't want to feel those painful emotions, right? To move on. And there you are, your soul, the soul's calling you forward, manifesting generators. Yeah. And I would also look at if you're avoiding through work, like work and staying busy too, avoiding this depression, to look at that, because that's a big distraction. And then so funny. The Four of Wands is also about an equal give and take in relationship, equal give and receive in relationships. Yeah. Okay. So to also look at, because the Four of Wands says to watch where you may be giving too much in relationship, right? Where you're doing all the giving and the other person's doing all the receiving. They're not giving back, right? To look at that, this depression. Because sometimes we don't want to look at things in truth, you know? Because this is what happens. You look at things in truth, and then it's like you can't unsee what you... Do you know what I mean? Like once you see something and see the truth, it's difficult to unsee it, right? And then you got to bust a move. Okay, I saw the truth and clearly I have to move on now, right? So it's just about going to the deeper feelings that's under this depression, that's under this rut that you've been in, you know? Yeah, there's something better waiting for you. That's what this card is saying. Yeah, like a homecoming. And it could be marriage too. It's a relationship card. That's what I see for manifesting generators. Okay. Yeah. And to nurture yourself, really get in touch with what you need to nurture your energy and your aura. And remember, it's always a good idea to be sleeping alone too. Right? Not all the time, but so that you can just feel yourself and discharge, right? From the energies of the day. Okay. Okay, let's go for the generators. So the manifesting generators and generators are 70% of the world. 70% of the world. And once they start awakening, remember it's about response, generator. Responding to life. And it means taking a second, right? To feel yourself. Feel your sacral. Okay. What do we got for the generators? What do we got for the our generator friends? What do we have for our generator friends? What do we have for our generator friends? This one right here. Ooh. Do we have another one for the generator friend? Okay. That's funny. So the generator got this Six of Swords. So moving on. Generators are called to be moving on. So ask yourself what you're leaving behind, right? So maybe you're leaving a relationship where it's unequal, give and take. A job that's an unequal give and take. Somewhere where you feel depleted, you know? You feel frustrated. That means you're not operating correctly. And what's the ego telling our generator friends? What's the ego telling our generator friends? This one right here. It's screaming. Oh. Okay. Okay. So I picked another one because it was in the larger group. So you got the Six of Swords, right? I'm moving on. And then Victory. That's a great card. And then what's the ego telling you? Avoid your soul purpose. So perfect for this. Because the 28's all about soul purpose. That's the programming partner of the 27. Right? The higher frequency. Their soul purpose. So moving on, generators, what are you leaving behind? What baggage are you still hanging on to that you no longer need? Or you think that you should? Maybe you've been tricked by that ego. Because we're talking about the 27, right? Maybe tricked by that ego to hold on to something that it's selfish to think about myself and to be moving on. It's selfish for me to leave this job. It's selfish. I've got kids to support. I have this, I have that. I have to. I should, right? I need to stay on this Titanic. You know, and the Titanic's going down. There's no security in the Titanic. The old ways of being are going, right? Right to the bottom of the ocean. 2027's coming clearer and clearer. That's closer and closer, right? 2027. So to dig that out, what's holding you back? What's holding you back? And all these excuses are one excuse only. I'm not going to do my soul purpose. Right? I'm not going to do my soul purpose. And it doesn't make any sense to the logical mind, right? Because your soul purpose, always, 100% of the time, you've got to face your deepest fears. That's part of the package. You do your soul purpose, then you've got to face your fears, your deepest fears, right? Because your soul purpose comes from the frequency, right, of love. It's coming from deep, deep here, vibrational frequency. It's coming from love, right? So that's what has to move through here is fear, your emotional body. So this is all about wanting to go on a spiritual vacation. And maybe you're weary. We're all weary, especially longer than 2020, if you've been at this for a while, right? So maybe the generator, the ego is like, let's go back. Let's go back to when we were this age, or let's go back when we were with these friends and we were so happy then, right? Let's hop back into the matrix and have some fun, right? It's a generator. And that's not going to work. Yeah. And it's all about avoiding your soul purpose. Yeah. So this is about, Carl Jung talks about this, that people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid their shadow, but also to avoid their soul purpose. So you can't escape your destiny, right? What's meant for you will always find you. It will haunt you. It will never let you go, your soul purpose, because it's a part of who you are. So this is saying you got to let something go. And it's probably an identity. Because remember when we do emotional work, generators, this emotional trauma that happens from 0 to 7 years old, that's not logical because the mind hasn't developed yet, not until 8 to 14, that the memory is held in our emotional body. But what happens during that time is we fragment, we create these personalities, these false personalities that travel through the mental, physical way into adulthood, and we start to believe that that's who we are, and it's not who we are. So the identity, as we start to undress and shed these old identities. When we do emotional work, the emotional work starts, emotions start to move, identity starts to fall away. So there can be some grief there, right? And this is maybe you're moving on from an old identity. Now you're being called to move forward into your next chapter. The thing is, we can't go back to the past. What your parents' life was like, what your grandparents' life was like, what your sister or brother's life is like, that's in the past. We're moving into the unknown, the great unknown, right? The Six of Swords is saying that too. So just to trust your response where life is taking you. Remember, life comes to you, generators, right? Yeah, to just not be afraid. I'm not going to say that because that's denying your emotions. If you're feeling fear, just feel fear, but know and trust that you're being guided to a better place, to unknown areas that you've never been before, maybe not even in other lifetimes, like new states of consciousness, right? Yeah, so it's about moving out of difficult situations and knowing that this is what the ego wants you to prevent, right? The ego wants you to prevent you from going through that emotional body to spirit awareness. Soul purpose is over there. Your soul purpose is on the other side. And what else is on the other side is victory. Look at him. He's on his horse. He's on a parade, right? It's like a parade. And so this is confidence. It's public recognition. It's about letting go of something. And the trap is, you know, if the ego wants security, it wants all the guarantees before you take any kind of risks. And the spiritual lesson is like, no, it doesn't work that way. You got to take the risk into the unknown, and then the safety net appears. So this card is also be looking at the people that are your cheerleaders. Not be focused on the ones that want to drag you down, that are channeling that ego, right? That want to keep you from moving forward and evolving. Yeah. So this is good news. Good news is here. And to be optimistic. It's Jupiter and Leo, right? This card. So it's to be optimistic about where you're being led to go. Yeah. And just commit. Just commit. I want to do my soul purpose, right? I want to do my soul purpose. That's all it takes. And then, you know, creation starts to rearrange itself and then comes to you, and then you respond with a yes or no with your sacral. It's that easy. Yeah. So it's about letting go of something that's not nurturing you any longer. Go towards what nurtures you. Okay. So victory. Victory for the generators. Okay. So let's go for the manifestors. I didn't think I saw any manifestors. There's usually one or two. 1% of the world are manifestors. I worked with another manifestor this week. I can't believe how I've met so many that want to be generators. Right? And they're acting like generators. They're sitting around, they're waiting to respond. And then I met so many generators, they want to be manifestors. Right? It's crazy. Nobody wants to be a projector, though. I haven't met anybody that wants to be a projector or reflector yet, including projectors and reflectors. I'm starting to enjoy being a projector. It's taken a while. Okay. So the manifestors. Well, I know the manifestors like to deny that they're emotional, but I really feel like the nurturing is emotional for manifestors. Emotional nurturance. Because I think they have a hard time in childhood, the manifestors, because they're so different. Okay, what do we have for our manifestor friend? Not this one. Let's see the ego. So you got the Five of Pentacles, which is isolation, poverty, scarcity thinking, right? Worrying that nothing's going to work out. And fixated, right? The mind fixated on scarcity, focused on that. And what's the ego telling the manifestor? Oh. Okay. So the ego gave you the conflict card. And the ego's favorite food is conflict, right? Remember my last video on division? This is the 6, the shadow of 6, which is actually activated, isn't it? Yeah, it's in the moon right now. It's not going to be there too long. But division, right? The full moon was in the shadow of division. So this conflict with other people, and it's around money, can be around, you may be having conflict with, it could be playing out on the external, like having conflict with other people around money. And so scarcity, maybe not feeling supported with this Five of Pentacles. And it's stubborn thinking. It's like thinking the worst. Mercury and Taurus, right? It's like got the blinders on, and this is how it's my beliefs, right? If we go back to that general reading, it's my beliefs. My beliefs are so entrenched, right? That this is what's going to happen, right? The worst is going to happen. The worst will happen. And of course, you'll create that, right? If you feed it with your energy, manifest. And plus you're a manifester, right? So of course you're going to manifest that. Yeah. So, and then conflict. So let's take it internal. Let's take it to the root. So, okay, there could be some fighting on the external, the details of your life. There could be, scarcity, like there's lack. I'm feeling really limited in my resources, and yes, all this stuff's going on, but let's take it to the internal and go to the root, the pathway of awareness, right? To heal this. Well, we got to go from the physical, mental, emotional down to the frequency, and we're not going to the frequency until we address this emotional, the 0 to 7 years old, right? So there can be, with conflict, it's always a reflection of the conflict that I'm feeling inside me. So manifestors, what's this? It's the soul purpose, your soul calling. Well, there can be some conflict. Maybe you're getting divine inspiration to initiate something, and it's completely aligned with your soul purpose. It's terrifying you. It's bringing lots of fear, which it's supposed to, so you can transcend it. And this can be conflict, right? So the conflict is the divine guidance, the intuition, and then this, right? There's the conflict right there. The ego telling, well, it's not going to work out because, well, how are you going to make money from this? Right? There's scarcity. People won't be interested in this. How will I support myself? Right? There are all these worries, and then that nips it right in the bud, But with the soul purpose, it never will let you go. You can't get rid of it. You can try to muffle it and drink it away and drug it away and all your addictions to stop that voice, but you won't stop it. The voice will continue and continue and continue. That's when you know it's coming from your soul, right? So there's a conflict within you with your intuition, your divine guidance, and then this ego and mind, right? Who are you going to listen to? Who are you going to listen to? So it's about remembering that you're a manifester. So the conflict's going to bring up a lot of anger, right? It's going to be a lot of anger for the manifestors and worried about money, right? Worried about the money. Instead of your job as a manifester is to listen to the divine guidance, right? That's you nurturing. This is this 27. You're nurturing your type as a manifestor. You're nurturing your aura. Your only job is in the moment, is receiving the divine guidance, and then informing, and then initiating, right? Who will this impact, right? So it's about, worry, and this worry, this Five of Pentacles card. This is all about the future. It's like the best thing all types can do is bring everything to the moment, the present moment, right? So what's my job in the present moment? To receive the divine guidance, accept it, let it in. Who will it impact? Inform, right? And then initiate and take initiation. That's your job in the moment, right? Moment by moment by moment. And to trust that you'll be supported. This is you moving on from an old way. I'm not going to be a generator anymore. I'm going to embrace me, my authentic self. Yeah. And then the beauty is when you start to operate as a manifester, right, with your strategy, then the conflict's going to just disappear, right? There's no need for the conflict anymore because there's no conflict within you. As long as there's conflict within you, you're going to see it. You're going to attract it. So the universe is generous with our lessons, and the mirror gets louder, more magnified and louder, so that you can see, oh, this is it's really going on inside me, right? Now I can see it instead of like lashing out at the mirror, right? For the manifestors. So letting go of the stubborn thinking, letting go is really easy. What are you letting go of? This, letting go of that ego. Embrace your soul purpose, right? Move through your emotional body, any feelings that are coming up. Maybe the divine guidance isn't coming through because you're so emotionally racked with anger and fear and grief from your childhood, right? Maybe you got to do this first, and then the divine guidance will come. Yeah. Okay. So that's good for everybody to know about conflict. Yeah. Especially if you attract a lot of conflict into your life, go to you. Why am I attracting conflict into my life? Oh, am I in conflict with myself? Okay. So let's go for projectors. 20% for the projector type. And nurturing for a projector means resting. Always be in tune with your energy, projector. Stop trying to be someone you're not, Stop compromising yourself. Running yourself ragged, You don't have the energy to run yourself ragged. And again, it's taking a pause, like I said to the manifesting generators. Projectors have to do that too, is just take a pause and reflect. And so in terms of invitation with this 27 and selfishness and giving yourself away, it's really important to know the difference between a high quality invitation and a low quality invitation. So a low quality invitation is getting invited to a friend's house, and they're talking the same victim story over and over and over and over again. Right? Not receiving your guidance. They don't even want to hear you. Right? Don't talk over me. I need to talk. And they do all the talking, and they go on and on and on in a loop, right? Like they're a broken record of their victim story. They're not interested in your guidance at all, but they were interested in your attention, right? Because our attention is very, very powerful as a projector. Right? That's a low quality invitation. That's not an equal exchange, right, of this generosity. So what do we have for our projector friends here? This one here, right here. And then the card. So you got the Magician card. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. And what's the ego telling our projector friends? This one right here. Okay. Bit similar to the manifestor, actually. So you got the Magician card. This is the first major arcana. Well, the second, because the Fool is the first. That's 0. So this is all about knowing that you're resourceful. And what do you want to create? So yes, you have to wait to be invited as a projector. And invitations can be very, very subtle, right? It can be very, very subtle. So it doesn't mean that you can't start the manifestation process, right? And that means, what do you want? This is what this is asking here. This card is like, what do you want? What do you want to create in this lifetime for yourself, right? And I know one of the dilemmas for the projector is the security, right? Like financial stability. Because you have to remember, we're becoming more and more valued as we come more and more into the Aquarian age and the cross of the sleeping phoenix. The projectors will start to be seen, right? And to look at the resources around you. So you may be going through loss. We all are. With the 60, with the Pluto and the 60, this is the shadow of limitation. And it's in there for a while, the shadow of limitation. Is to, you may be seeing losses around you as a projector. So to look at that, you just to know that I have everything that I need around me. I have all the resources. Everything is here in this moment. It's to know that, right? And to know that you have all the tools that you need, right, to make things happen. So it's and how does it go with the 27 then, with the nurturing? Well, to know that it's not selfish to think about yourself and your needs. The thing with the projectors, right? The projector is all about, like the generators are all about them. It's all about them, the generators and the manifesting generators. And that's correct for them because they really have to know themselves, right? So it's about them surrendering to life. That's the generator and manifesting generators. But the projector is all about the other, right? So that's our natural inclination, is to focus on others. And we do want to help others, right? It's part of our design as a projector. So it can be to get out of balance, right? It can go out of balance where you're just too focused on the other person and not yourself. So this card is saying to bring the focus back to you, like bring things back into balance, and that it's not selfish to think about yourself and consider yourself and what you need, right? And the projector can be so smart in the use of their energy and in terms of their work too. And so we see patterns, right? We see oh, that's interesting. The 17's there too. That's probably Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter's in the 17. 17's all pattern recognition. It's about the future, right? So projectors, if you have this or not, you already have this pattern recognition within your type. So you're able to see the future and what you can. It's organizing people. Again, it's the 17. Organizing people, can organize people as another gift. So be able to just take a step back, detach, and just see where the world is going. I'm going to pray, I'm going to open my third eye up and I'm going to see the future and what's coming, and then how I can help guide, right? This 17 or the 27 is showing you that with the North Node. This is a way to nurture yourself and your energy, right? It's to like have a little view, get the telescope out, the cosmic telescope, and be able to look into the future, okay? And how do I fit in here with my soul purpose and guiding others, right? And it will come to you. So it's engaging your mind with manifestation, with engaging the mind with this magician card is knowing you have everything inside you, everything. You've claimed everything in the energy inside you. You know that. Then the external is going to reflect that. And then with manifestation, it's about attention and intention. Attention and intention. And attention is where you're focusing your mind, right? And then intention is your emotions, right? That have to be purified. And once they're purified, then your emotions are on board too. So you need both. And look at this. What's the mind? What's your mind focused on? Your attention. The glass is half full, right? The glass is half empty. Where's your mind going? It can either go one or the other, right? It's binary. Glass is half full, then it's glass is half empty, right? Glass is half empty. There's not enough. It's the scarcity thinking, right? There's not enough. I'm focused on lack and what's not there. Well, your mind is saying to focus on what is here. What is here? Okay, I've got a really good place of living and it's quiet and it's safe and I really feel like I can expand in my aura, right? I have supportive friends around me. I've got really good food and clean water. Like just go for it. What's there? What's there? Right? What are the resources that are there for me, that are supporting me? And that's the glass is half full, right? But if you go the other way, then what's your mind going to create? More and more scarcity. So it's about watching your mind, being vigilant with your mind projectors. And there can be an addiction to negative thinking with this glass is half full or glass is half empty. Right? There can be an addiction to that. So just watching your mind, because we're prone to go one way or the other. Overly optimistic or super negative. Right? So this card is saying to go more to optimism. And then this is going to help with your manifestation. So again, with the glass is half empty, right? We have to go back to, if you want to go to the emotional root, back to frequency. The emotions is all about a pattern that was taught to you in childhood. Like, don't get your hopes up, right? Don't get your hopes up. It's a way of avoiding these emotions that are stuck, the sadness, fear, grief, right? Like, I have no power. Like, that's what a projector can go through too, because they're so different than the other types, right? I have no power. And it puts a block up to manifestation, right, of the mind going into the glass is half empty. Yeah. So that's what this is about. It's about nurturing yourself by watching this mind and these beliefs that you've inherited, right, from childhood, coming down from childhood. And it's all about scarcity. And these cards are saying, no, you got the power as a projector. Yeah. And trusting in your type, trusting in your aura. Yeah. So it's skillful, right? The magician's all about being skillful. Yeah. Okay. That's good for the projector. And remember, the projector really needs space, like solitude. So their aura is operating correctly because it's focused and absorbing, right? Okay. Let's go for the reflectors here. The reflectors, only 1% of the reflectors of the population. And they're the barometer. They're the barometer of the group. So they got to follow the moon. And I hope if you're a reflector that you've subscribed to my channel, because I always do a new moon or a full moon video. And the secret secretion too video that I did. That's all about when your secretion is coming through, right? And this in turn stimulates the pineal gland to light up, right? The third eye to light up. So once every 29.5 days, it will be unique to you. And it's when the transiting moon is in your sun sign. I think we're still in Virgo, aren't we? The Virgo moon. Okay. So if you're a Virgo sun, then this is your time. Okay. Okay, so what do we got for the reflector here? Nurturing the reflector. What do we have for the reflector friends here? Oh, I knew I'd get this card at one point. I love doing the reflector type at the end because it's kind of like the wrap up, right? Because you got the generators and the manifesting generators in the center of the circle, and the projectors off a little bit, the manifestors are off a little bit, but they're still in the circle. And then the reflectors on the outer edge of the circle. So anyway, you got the 6 of Pentacles. And if I were to give a tarot card to the 27, it would be this one, right? Because it's about giving and receiving. What do we got for our reflector friends? The reflector friends. We're going to say more than one reflector's coming on. Okay. Okay. So the 6, you can see, right? He's giving his pentacles. And it's all in balance, right? There's the scales. So the moon in Taurus. So this is about sharing wealth. It's generosity. So for you, it's about share. Maybe it is physical sharing of wealth for you, reflector. But just in terms of your type, it's sharing your energy. So this is giving and receiving. So asking yourself, what can you give to others, right? So somebody in the chat said, what do you do if you have nothing to give, right? So it's knowing that you always have something to give. And reflectors, 1% of the world, they have lots to give, right? They're giving the such a clear judgment, the higher frequency of judgment. It's being objective, being able to see things that the other types can't see. You can see the bigger picture, right, as a reflector. How healthy are things, right? So how can you receive what you need? These are some questions to ask yourself, right? How can you share your spiritual knowledge with other people? How can you share what you see with other people, right? So it's about overcoming an inner conflict with your relationship to giving and receiving. So what does giving and receiving mean to you as a reflector? And remember, as a reflector, you're when you're operating correctly, it's I'm delighted, I'm surprised by life, right? So maybe bring that surprise to others, right? Bring that surprise to others. And this is just by being yourself. And you will surprise other people. Because that moon is constantly on the go. Goes through all the 64 gates once every 29.5 days, right? You're aligned with that moon. So you're going to be very Virgo-like right now. Despite if you have Virgo sun or moon, right? You're going to be very Virgo-like. Into your health and into the details, and right? So this is a feeling of abundance. So how do you nurture yourself? It's feeling abundant about being a reflector. You're a rare bird, right? 1%, a rare bird. And so you've been given all this abundance. You got the Teflon aura. Nothing can touch you, right? Nothing can touch you. Yeah. And then so you got the judgment card. So let's look at it as so the higher frequency is objectivity, right? It's judgment. You're able to assess. That would be the higher frequency of judgment. But this is this the ego trap. So who judges? Well, this crazy ego, that voice in your head that you believe is yours, right? That's doing all the judging, all commentating, right? About what's wrong with the world. This isn't objectivity. This is an assessment at all, right? It's blame. Judgment always wants to blame. So it's looking at the world, but what it's seeing is, what it's really seeing is your unintegrated past, right? This is shadow work, right? So that person is stingy with their money. They're so greedy, right? There's a judgment. We'll turn it back to you. Where am I being greedy and stingy? Maybe it's not with money. Maybe it's with your time. Maybe it's with your energy, right? So it's just to remember that this voice in your head that's constantly judging. And this is one of the spiritual teachings, is this wrong or bad that you're judging? Well, good luck trying to get rid of that, because that's just how the mind works, how it's designed. It's judges, bad or wrong. That person's bad or wrong, or I'm bad or wrong, because it will turn it in on you too, right? So the secret is not to get attached, right? Not to get attached. So to look at this, because we'll marry it with, selfishness. That person's being selfish. To watch this and they turn it back to you as a reflector, right? Because what it's doing, it's stopping you from sharing, So don't, if you're seeing stinginess, if you're seeing greed out in the world, don't let it stop you from sharing, right? The world's got to catch up, right? With the divine truth that to give is to receive. That's what I would say. Don't let this stop you. Don't let this judgment stop you from giving. This is what we do as a humanity. Well, until they do it first, then I'll do it. Like waiting. Well, somebody's got to go first, right? So it might as well be you. It might as well be me. Okay? Okay. So is that everybody? I think it's everybody. Okay. Okay. I just want to look at some comments here, but we've got this until, how long do we have this for? Okay, till June 23rd, right? So stop projecting, so let go of, stop projecting my shadow, stop projecting my fears onto others, stop fighting for meaning and purpose. The 28 is all, if there were any of the 64 gates that represent the shadow in its essence, it's this one, right? It's the 28. And that's coming off the spleen there. Right there, the 28. So there's the fear of death, right? This rules the body, health of the body. Okay, so what do we got here? And I just wanted to put this up too for the people that don't know already, and I post every day. I want to post more little short videos too. I like doing those ones, the little 1 minute ones. I'll do a 1 minute from this video too, but I'm going to timestamp it so everybody can come back and rewatch if you want to. And hopefully I got everything in, but I don't think I got everything in from the first round. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. Great. Okay. Okay, so that's what I have for everybody. What do I want to say? Yeah, don't let the ego and the mind stop that impulse of the soul is to be kind and caring to other people, and really start with yourself. Like, how can I be more kind and caring to myself? And to go into a meditation state. Don't listen to that ego and the mind, because it will always be like always be selfish, right? It will always come with the selfish vibe to it. And that's all about hoarding and being stingy with yourself and with other people, is to really go deep in like what really nurtures me, and go back to childhood. It's all there, the 0 to 7 years old. What made me feel nurtured, right, as a child, right? It's all there. All the information is there. This is the thing that we forget, right? Why people are afraid to do this work is they don't want to feel the discomfort, right? Those uncomfortable emotions. But they forget that all the good stuff's in there too, because on the other side of here is peace. It's peace, it's love, it's success, it's fulfillment. It's all on the other side of this emotion, this emotional body work, purification work, you know? So the good memories are there too, right? But it's about purifying the bad ones. Not bad or good, because that's binary, but the ones that need to be integrated, right? Okay? So come back and watch, especially if you're like asleep because of the time zone stuff. But have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world, and be able to follow me and leave your comments and like and share if you want to. Okay. Satnam Aloha, everybody. Bye-bye. I'll see you next video.